Here's what you can expect if you study math at standard level in IB. Starting with some example chapters: vectors, logarithmic and exponential functions, and probability. These three are quite different from one another, but overall you'll have a large variety when studying in the 2 years. So not only will you have chapters which focus more on graphs, you'll also have chapters which focus on finding patterns. So if you feel as though one chapter may not necessarily be your strong point, most likely you'll be able to excel in other chapters, as there's quite a large variety, and I feel as though math standard level gives you the option of having a really solid base in math, since you cover lots of different aspects. Moving on to one of the core components of your final grade, the math internal assessment, also known as the math exploration. These are 4 stages which I feel like everybody needs to know in order to complete their math exploration the best way possible. Starting with research. It may be difficult at first to pick a topic, however once you start researching you'll find that a lot of everyday things may actually have a mathematical connection which you can research. It's important to research and write about something which interests you, as your personal engagement is also a large part of your grade. Once you find the topic that you want to investigate this. For example, if you're doing a topic where you need to actually solve an equation, you're going to start by finding the basics of the equation, understanding how to solve it. Make sure to document everything throughout, as the math exploration should really be an ongoing process of how you get from start to finish. The next stage is solving. So once again, this only really applies for if you have a topic where you actually need to solve something. But if you do, make sure you explain your use of mathematics very clearly and do this well, as you will be downgraded if it's not organized nicely. Lastly, reflection. Even though this is the last stage on these 4 points, actually it should be done throughout the whole process, as reflecting is very important. The examiner wants to see that he understands how you got from start to finish. So if you think trial and error is not important enough to include, it really is. Teachers really like seeing how you managed to solve it, and also how you reflect on it throughout. If something didn't go well, make sure you include this. Moving on to lesson times. This will of course vary per school, but for us the lesson usually goes something like this. The teacher has set homework from the previous lesson, and this lesson we will then discuss it. People will usually have certain questions, sometimes the same, sometimes different questions, but the teacher will usually pick about 3 of the students' questions and answer them on the board. At this point, if you had no problems with the homework, you can already start working. However, most of the time students decide to listen, as it's always very helpful to hear the teacher describe it. So once these have been discussed, he will usually set us work or give us theory to study. If he sets us work, we usually have about half of the lesson to work on some questions. At the end of the lesson, he'll set homework for the next lesson. The homework load is usually never a lot. Throughout the course of the year, the only large homework assignment you have is your math exploration, and for the rest you just have regular homework questions from the book. If you keep up, you'll easily be able to do it. Lastly, why take math at standard level? Of course, it very much depends on what you want to do when you're older, but for me this was quite good, because I was never really interested in studying physics or maths in university, and I feel that math at standard level gives you the perfect base of mathematical knowledge. Since it covers such a broad spectrum of chapters, it doesn't limit you at studying subjects at university. Therefore, I would really recommend this, and I feel as though, even though it is quite a lot of work and quite a lot of chapters to cover, if you're able to keep up on the homework and just keep on track, you'll easily be able to pass math standard level.